About to get underway. It's Cordless with his second random grid pole position of the season. Will he get away well this time? And no, it's another fantastic start from Danny, who started second in the first race. He started second again and launches into the lead of the race there. Fantastic start, and VX Dave is already alongside Bareback as they head into turn one, or was that Apex that might have been his teammate? No, as they go up the hill, it is VX Dave alongside Bareback as they come up the hill. This is really dangerous, this. And oh, he backs out of it as Bareback goes a little bit sideways. What's happening further towards the front? Well, I can tell you Brave has pulled out a big lead already, but that will get cut down pretty quickly, I should think, with the slipstream effect around this track. Just looking back, Sammy in third place, excellent third place at the moment. Oh, and Apex gets it sideways. Bareback runs into the back. The two of them go sideways. VX Dave almost up the inside of Bareback as they go through the corner there. And goodness me, that was very close, but everybody really driving cleanly here, and there's side by side in the background between the BMWs, and this is on board championship leader VX Dave as he chases down Bareback, almost runs into the back of him. 2 corners to go. The race leader's looking close there, and coming into the last corner now, and VX Dave bails for the pit lane. He's the first person to pit, and it looks like this car's coming in behind him as well. Let's go back to the front of the race here. There's a lot going on, and Cordless has really caught up to Danny. So Ian in the red and blue car already on the tail, and in the background there you can see Apex really putting Sammy under some pressure with Bareback right behind. Let's go on board with Bareback as we go up the hill. The third of this trio that are battling over the third position at the moment, this podium position, and this is ever so close at the moment. Yeah, here we are up into the chicane, all the slip streaming. You can see Sammy holding on to that position. Bit of a slide from Apex, bit of a slide from Bareback. The three of them really dicing it out here. And Cordless, I can tell you out in front, has not managed to make a move yet on Danny. He's not quite close enough. These three is where the battle is at the moment. Bareback putting Apex under pressure now. And really out of these three, it really is close indeed. As we go through the final couple of corners. Oh, and I think Bareback makes a little mistake there. It's a bit of sliding, a bit of tyre smoke, but he gathers it all back together. And now Apex is the one on the move. So, will Apex make a move into turn one? He's ever so close. Sammy brakes late, but does he brake too late? He's gone wide. Apex gets the position. Here comes Bareback as well. And is that DTI Dave in the first of the BMWs? Running down in 5th place, yes it is. So he'll be pleased with that start as well. And it's now Bareback chasing down Apex. After they both got past Sammy there, I think Sammy probably got a track limits penalty and he's really backed off there after that excellent 8th position in the first race. And it's almost side by side. Bareback can't quite get a run on Apex, and there's more sideways action from the both of them. Both of them running a really sort of high speed setup here, and it does seem to be working well for them. Apex just managing to keep ahead, and out in front it's still Danny leading with Cordless in 2nd place. The gap not really coming down at the moment. It's absolutely where it's at though, the battle back here. And just a little bit further back, I think we also can see we've got Stig battling, chasing down Sammy and Lee and Simon. A little bit further back, oh, one of them in the pit lane! That was, who was that? That was Lee into the, sorry, that was Sammy into the pit lane, apologies. And back out in front, the race lead, just 0.8 of a second between them at the moment, so Cordless looking good. Brave looking very dominant out in front though at the moment. Apex under some pressure, we didn't see that. Bareback got past somehow. Oh, missed that manoeuvre, but Bareback now up into 3rd place. And so it's DTI Dave now on the tail of Apex. Let's go on board the blue and yellow car as we go through the chicane. Look at the sideways action from the front wheel drive cars as they try to capitalise on the curves and throw the cars over the curves as much as possible. On board with the BMW you can see Apex's car running wide there, and DTI Dave keeping it nice and tidy. Teammate Stig running in a strong 6th place. Stig's not had any particularly good results so far, so we'll be hoping for a good one out of this. And oh, Apex makes a small mistake over the curve there. Not not really much he can do, I don't think, but there we are, and he gathers it back together and continues running in that fourth place. The gap at the front has gone up slightly now. That said, it's sort of ebbing around the 1 second mark, so Danny and Cordless really getting away from this pack at the moment. Further down the field, I can tell you VX Dave is up to 9th position after being the first person to pit on the first lap. Sammy pitted a few laps later, he's in 10th, and Mark was one of the early pitters as well, so he'll be hoping to get a good result out of this race. Back to the front, 7 or 8 tenths in it, and that slipstream really keeping Cordless in contention at the moment as they head through the last few corners. Now it's interesting, look behind, Bareback obviously managed to get past Apex, he's not able to pull away. Apex actually looks faster of the two now, closing back down on him a little bit. That slipstream obviously playing its part, and that has produced some really interesting tight racing. Oh, Cordless clatters into the wall a little bit there, has a bit of a brush with the wall, just about keeps it going though. That should be alright, shouldn't cause too much damage to the car hopefully. And Brave using all of the curbs as he was in race 1 as well. So how's this battle looking now? Well, we have got Bareback, Apex and DTI Dave, these three still unable to break away from one another. Still the closest battle I think in the race at the moment, and it really is quite fascinating to watch who's going to make that move first. Apex looking quick up the straight this time. We know Bareback's car is also set up quick, but that run up the hill and the slipstream there kept the cars very close together indeed, but not close enough to make a move. All three of these guys neat and tidy over the curbs, over the chicane there, as they have to be. DTI Dave first and the BMW's there. He'll be looking for potentially another podium position. He had a podium position at Sugo early on in the season, so we're hoping to follow that up today. His teammate just dropping back a little bit behind Lee running in 6th place at the moment. Now, little shout out to Dell, who got fantastic 5th place in the first race. He's running last and 12th at the moment, but he's another one of the guys who took an early pit stop, so this could really put him in the mix by then. Oh, sideways over the chicane. All these Renaults really struggling for rear end grip as they're trying to get as much straight line speed as possible around here. But it's great to watch, really good to watch. And it's still battle on here for third. Look, Apex closer than he has been. Really close. Now look, there's just about 1.5 meters between those cars as they come up the straight. That slingshot and that slipstream, is that going to give Apex that chance to get past? We saw how quick Apex was in a straight line, but we know Bareback is too, and oh goodness me, goes over the front of him. They just about get through there. Oh, that was so close, but so well done, and Cordless makes a mistake just ahead of them. That's going to give Apex a chance now to get 2nd place. He could take 2 positions in 1 lap, so this is looking really good, and could Apex score another victory potentially for the Emochi team, who have won all but 1 race so far this season. Look how close these guys are. Bareback over the curve in the green Renault, and you just cannot pick between them. It almost looked like Bareback was going to go in the pit there. No, oh look how close it is. DTI Dave really taking advantage there. He just squeezed through past Apex. I would say barge past, but there's no contact. Very clean. Oh, Bareback pushes DTI Dave a little bit wide there. That was quite robust. We find Rob tends to stick his elbows out quite a lot, and if you're going to make a move, you've got to really make that move. But this is great racing and really good to watch, and Cordless is able to just get a moment's breather after making that mistake. But these guys are really chasing him down now. I think that slipstream is making his life very difficult indeed. It's oh, and Bareback sideways again. I mean, Cordless a little bit sideways, but definitely more sideways from Rob there, and those 3 guys again really close together, just giving Cordless that little breather. It's fabulous to watch. We'll go on board with Apex, the 3rd of those 3 now. We'll just see how the speeds of the cars vary. Oh, DTI David, Rob, they're back, just a little touch back there, and I think Rob's saying, no, I want that position back. Oh, there's a touch, they almost take each other out, and Cordless pits. Cordless takes a fairly early pit stop, not as early as some, but the earliest out of the front runners for sure. And look at that touching down the straight. This is such a good bit of racing to watch, and it's firm but fair so far, and nobody has had it too bad, thankfully. As we go up the hill now, and Apex all over the place there. Lots of tail happiness on that Renault. For a moment it looked like he might get that run on DTI Dave, but the BMW was staying a little bit more composed through there, and I think that will do enough just to keep the BMW ahead as he follows in the slipstream of Bareback as well. And DTI Dave not so quick through that time, and Apex makes another position. I think he's going to get it back. There's a bit of lag there. I didn't quite see what happened. I think it created contact, but I think that was really caused by lag rather than trying to force the other guy wide. Further back, Lee in a slightly lowly 5th, but I think all of this battling might bring him into the mix. And DTI Dave now trying to get that position back off of Apex whilst Bareback is driving off into Sunset. Speaking of Sunset, the man on the mission at the moment is Danny, who we haven't seen much of because he's really just led this from the start, and he's just pulling a bigger and bigger gap, especially after Cordless pitted as well. And he is away at the moment with almost 6.5 second lead over second place man Bareback in the green car, who's been battling almost every lap with Apex, with DTI Dave, and you can just see Lee in the background there. Simon doing another good job at the moment, running 6th, and championship leader VX Dave is now up to 7th place, and he's 27 seconds behind the race leader at this stage. So that is no guarantee of a victory, that's for sure, but he could be in the mix for a podium at this stage, with a pit stop probably taking around 20 seconds, including the pit lane time around here. Cordless is back out after his pit stop, so that's good to see, but he's been jumped by VX Dave, so we know he was running second early on, but VX Dave has got that track position over Cordless now. The two that fought for the championship last year, first and second, doesn't look like they're going to battle much in this race. There's quite a gap now between those two guys. And then Stig and Mark and Delsport all having a really good tussle over 9th at the moment. They're not right close together yet, not as close as we've seen some of the other guys, but they are within shot of that hallowed slipstream. And then you've got Sammy, who's just not that much further back either, so this is really good to see. And Sammy and Del doing a good job for the Exeter team. Back out in front. Bareback's made a mistake because Apex is back through. So Apex, second place man in the first race, is now up to second once more, starting 4th in this race. So that will be good for him. He'll be enjoying that, and we didn't see the move unfortunately as we were watching some of the other guys. But Bareback dropping back a little bit now. Look at the front of the car. I don't know if he's run wide or something. Apex keeping it tidy. Bareback looks a bit slow there. I think he might have a track limits infringement. He lets DTI Dave come through now. So we now have Danny out in front in the black and yellow Momo car. We have Apex running a fine second after he finished second earlier on today in the blue and yellow Team Mochi car. And he'll be hoping to close down that 6-second gap that he's now got to Brave. And then DTI Dave rounding out the podium, finishes currently in 3rd place in the BMW. Looking a little bit further back, Bareback's now in the pit. Right, so Bareback has pitted, one of the front runners from the race, and there he is. You can just see the green car now leaving the pit lane, and Cordless has jumped him. So that's not going to be good news for Bareback, and he might get done by Mark here, he might get done by Stig here, he might get done by Delsport and Sammy. This is going to be really tight coming out of the pit. We'll watch Bareback as he comes out of the pit, and where has he slotted in? Right, Mark has taken it, but Stig falls in behind him. This lot are now all well within the slipstream range of one another, so it should be fascinating to see what happens. Kicking up the dust there from Mark's car. A really good run from Mark as well in the first race with a 4th place finish, his best of the season. He'll be really pleased with that. He'll be hoping to follow that up with another solid points position in this race. But everybody doing a fine job throughout the field. Very difficult to overtake here, but we have not seen any major incidents. It's great to see. Now, the gap between the two race leaders at the moment has stagnated, so it is still sat around 6 seconds. If anything, Danny at the moment is just pulling out a slight gap over Apex. So Apex not quite able, but it's sort of ebbing and flowing a little bit between 6.5 seconds, even dropping below 6 seconds there. So I think these two are on very similar pace. DTI Dave just backing off a little bit from the back of Apex, but still on some good pace at the moment. Apex is really the quickest of the three at the moment with a 1:12.8 on the last lap. But look, championship leader VX Dave with a 1:12.6 on the last lap. And if he's been lapping like that quite frequently, there is a chance he's going to pull himself into contention for a podium slot here, looking very tidy indeed through there. But not much to see elsewise for him. It's had a very quiet race. However, these guys, Bareback and Cordless, are now side by side once more. And Bareback goes sideways. Oh, there's contact. No, sorry, it's Bareback and Mark. So Bareback has got actually back up past Mark. Mark having managed to jump him through the pit stops, and Mark really not looking too pleased about that, and he's trying to fight back as they head into the last couple of corners. On board with Mark now in the red and blue Renault, chasing down the double green car of Bareback, and Bareback looking ever so lively on the tail end of that car. He does tend to push the absolute maximum out of the car every lap, so it's always entertaining to watch, that's for sure, as they head into turn one. Not much in it on the brakes. I think Bareback is ever so hard on the brakes, and Mark runs a little bit wide. He's got to be careful of that. That could be track limits if he throws that up too often. But this is definitely where the battle's at the moment, and this is great to see. He's going to try and follow in the slipstream and chase Rob up the hill and see if he can take that position, which would put him up to 7th and behind his teammate Cordless, who's some way up the road at the moment. But these guys really having it out, and Bareback has just been involved in almost every battle throughout. God, look at Mark in the background there going sideways. But Bareback has been involved in nearly every battle during this race. It seems as either been at the front of it, the middle of it, or the back of it, and he just keeps changing positions, so it's anyone's guess at this stage where he's going to finish. In the background, oh no, Mark has lost it! Mark lost it. He's gathered it back together. We didn't quite see how that all kicked off, but I think he lost it on the turn-in and then jumped over the curve a little bit. But he's pulled it back together without damaging the car. It's great to see. Stig with what looks like a bit of damage on the front end of that BMW. I don't know if that is a game fault or whether he has had a big incident, but car not looking particularly happy, running in 10th at the moment. Elsewhere, really, Rob and Mark are the two guys to watch. The battle for 7th place. Cordless really in quite a lonely 6th at the moment, about 4 seconds up the road from these guys. You can just see him there, and you can just see in the background the other guys coming up the straight towards the chicane, so they're a good way back. You can just see them battling in the background there, and we're on lap 15 of 25 at the moment. As a reminder, Danny Brave out in the lead. He's now leading by 5.5 seconds, so Apex has managed to chip away at that lead a little bit. He's down to 5.5 seconds, so he'll be really chuffed with that. And then DTI Dave's still running a fine third in the first of the BMWs, and in contention for his second podium position of the season. Lee has had a very quiet race, but runs 4th at the moment, a tidy 4th position. Now VX Dave might be one to watch, because he's now got that gap down to the leader to 24.5 seconds, or just over 24 seconds. He was 27 seconds behind when we looked about 10 laps ago, so that is a big difference. So that could pull him into contention for that podium, or maybe even the win. Might be a stretch too far at this stage. These guys still lapping really fast out in front in the 113s, but look at VX Dave with a 112.7. So Apex is going fast, VX Dave is going even faster at this stage, but Brave has had a particularly slow lap there with a 113.9. Apex responds a 112.7, so really good lap from Apex on that occasion. further back, Bareback and Mark still within a second of each other. The closest battle on the track. 2 seconds behind is Cordless. Now we didn't see how that happened. Cordless has ended up behind his teammate, behind Bareback, and we didn't see how that happened because Cordless had already pitted, so there must have been a bit of an issue there for him somewhere, maybe the track limits or something. And Delsport again doing a super job jumping into that car for the first time this season in the extra car, and he is running a fine 9th at the moment, still with a few of the guys to have their pit stops. And who's that coming out? That's DTI Dave. We missed that. So DTI Dave took his pit stop trying to undercut, but he's come out in a really precarious position because he's now sandwiched between Cordless and Delsport, and that's going to make things really quite tricky indeed. All of these guys now have pitted, so this is where they are on track. They may make up 1 or 2 more positions with other guys at the pit, but this is where they are in relation to each other, so this is fighting for position. DTI Dave gets a bit sideways, Delsport up the inside, fantastic move, and that is going to put him up to 8th place, but it's not quite, because DTI Dave manages to find some grip on the outside of the BMW and keeps that position. Excellent driving by those guys, and it really is an absolute pleasure to watch the driving around here. Everybody has been so close on lap time, and that slipstream really helps to just pull people along and make for some fantastic racing. It might not be the easiest track to overtake, but my god does it deliver some interesting racing. So the guys still yet to pit. We have got race leader Danny, and this is on lap 18 at the moment, still not pitted. Apex has got the lead down to 4.5 seconds. This could make them very close indeed, depending on what their pit strategies are going to be, and he'll be really chuffed with that. He's not yet pitted, but as I say that, here he comes into the pits, so this is the moment of truth. He's into the pits, he comes in nice and steadily there, gets the car slowed down, no speeding issues there at all. Lee in 3rd position. Is he also making his pit? So 2 of them making their pit on the same lap. Where's VX Dave? VX Dave's about to come through the last corner. He's definitely going to jump Lee. He has jumped Lee. Now where is Apex? Apex still in the pit at the moment. He's just coming out. VX Dave has jumped them both. So VX Dave is now up to 2nd position on track, and that is 2nd position overall at the moment. Nothing that Apex could do there. He was running quite fast, but I think VX Dave has had little or no traffic to deal with, and has just managed to do lap after lap. These guys look a bit further back, Bareback and Mark, so Bareback is not going to have a chance to catch on Apex. Lee has dropped right back, so Lee must have had some issues in the pit there. I think he's come out, rejoined in 9th, and the battle is now on. Delsport and DTI Dave, look how close they are. So Delsport did manage to get past DTI Dave in the end, and these guys are now battling for 7th position on track, with Cordless just up ahead in 6th. I can't believe how these cars keep changing around. All of a sudden we've got Mark up to fantastic 5th. He's made an excursion, he's lost it. That's going to give his teammate, there's contact. I don't think Mark saw his teammate coming there. I don't think he would have defended that so hard, to be honest. And Cordless goes through, but these positions just keep changing. Brave is in the pits. Brave is into the pit lane, and he's taken his pit stop. We've missed that. So VX Dave has actually jumped him as well, and we gather there was an issue for Brave in the pit lane. He overshot the pit box, so VX Dave takes the lead, and he doesn't have his pit stop to go, so he has got 6 laps remaining and could win 2 out of 2 here today, making it 5 out of 6 race wins for Team Emochia, an unprecedented record so far this season. But there's still a few laps to go. Car looking tidy, but that's really disappointing for Danny, unfortunately. But he's still running in 2nd place at the moment with this. He's made a mistake there. So as Apex, did you see how sideways the blue and yellow car was? It was almost like he watched the black and yellow car, saw him going sideways, and said, whatever you can do, I can do more sideways. And now he's chasing down for 2nd position. It's really close out of these guys, and still we've got this battle going on between the teammates. We've got Cordless Ian, and then Mark, his teammate, both of them in the blue and red Renaults. And in the background, Del Sport getting up alongside DTI Dave, so that must be DTI Dave actually coming back on Del Sport. Del Sport's had a bit of an issue there because he's backed off. And Lee with his lights on, is he going to go for a move? He doesn't quite do it. He doesn't quite do it going into the final couple of corners. Didn't quite see what happened, he's backed right out of that. But the battle is really on between these two guys at the front. Second and third they are now. And there is less than half a second between them. Is that, I think, oh, Danny's letting Apex through. So Danny must have had a track limits issue, or passed the car unfairly, because he has let Apex through. He's very slow up straight there. And now Apex is into second place. This could be another 1-2 for the Team Emochi team, who scored their first 1-2 of the season in the first race there. And they're in a really, really strong position. Those two blue and yellow cars really strong today. Danny not out of the equation yet though in the black and yellow Momo car. He may yet get back past, and we'll have to keep an eye on that and see what happens there. Oh, we've missed an incident. Del Sport and Lee apparently came together, and Del is out of the race. Lee with an extremely battered car. We gather there was contact between them coming up through the first chicane, up the hill. Yep, and unfortunately that has resulted in Del Sport's retirement. So lap 21 of 25, VX Dave out in the lead. There's not much going on here, so let's get back to the action. And Apex and Brave have a bit of a gap between them at the moment as well. Oh, and Apex goes so sideways yet again through the chicane. But these guys are fighting over fourth place at the moment. Well, we've got Bareback in fourth position, Mark running in fifth, DTI Dave in sixth, and Cordless in seventh. So this is really the battle for sixth place. My apologies earlier, having said that DTI Dave got his only podium at Sugo so far. Of course, he also got a podium here in race 1 today, so could he be on for his third podium? It's looking fairly unlikely at the moment, down in 6th place, but stranger things have happened. I think most people have taken their pit stops now, and these guys are really close on track, so this is good to watch. On board now with Cordless chasing down that BMW. Is there anything he can do? I suspect at this stage in the race the BMW's got a little bit more tyre underneath it, so it'd be interesting to see what Cordless can do. Not much in it on the brakes as they go into turn 1, and in fact Cordless makes a small mistake. DTI Dave capitalises, and he can try and pull away now and pull him out of that slipstream. Now up front in second and third positions we've still got Apex and Brave running second and third, and Apex not able to completely shrug Brave off, although there is quite a gap now, so I think that's probably comfortable enough that Apex won't worry too much about the slipstream. And both of these guys seem to have the cars set up quite fast in a straight, so I don't think we'll be too concerned anyway. And is very tidy through there, and so is Danny, very tidy indeed. Bareback really in quite a lonely fourth at the moment, Mark in a lonely fifth. This is the battle on track between DTI Dave and Cordless. Who is going to master that 6th position by the end of the race? It's as close as it was last lap around. Worth mentioning Sammy again as well. Sammy doing a great job. Sammy scored his best of the season in race 1 in 8th position, and here he is running in 8th once more with only a couple of laps to go. He may well do this. Oh, I think Sting's almost lost it in the background with the BMW. Not quite. He's got it going again. He's got it going. Lee with that damaged Renault after the collision with Del Sport earlier, which we gather will be investigated. But these cars looking really quite worse for wear at the back here. And back towards the front, it's really hotting up now. Look, there's only a few tenths between these guys, and Brave will be sniffing that second position. He really wants that back. Apex runs the curb, Brave runs the curb, but they both keep it within the track limits, nice and tidy now. with just a lap or so to go now. Final lap. Oh, Brave's not got such a good run coming out. Oh, both of them run a little bit wide. That's interesting. Who's going to see? Apex seeds, he does the sensible thing. I think Brave is going to have to seed as well. I think he will end up with a track limits infringement for that. It looked like he ran wider than Apex. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But 8 seconds up the road is your race leader. He's looking to secure his 4th race win of the season. And looking further back, it looks like Simon has just got past Sammy. Sammy got an issue. He looks like he's slowing. And yes, we gather he's got fuel issues, so he may not finish the race yet. VX Dave coming through, but the battle is still on for second, and Danny has let Apex back through, so he obviously did pick up a track limits infringement there, and I think they're going to finish status quo. But VX Dave wins race number 4 out of 6, and in the background his teammate completes a second 1-2 of the season, a second 1-2 of today even. Danny an excellent 3rd position as well. One of the, I think Danny's teammate Lee in the pits there. And Bareback a fine 4th position, he'll be happy with that. Mark brings the car home in 5th place. Another good result from Mark. And DTI Dave in 6th, leading the BMW team once more. And Cordless so close behind. A little further behind we've got Simon, who has done another clean and tidy race and keeps bringing home the points, backing up his teammate and title contender Bareback. So that's going to bring him home 3 points. And Stig will be happy to finish the race, especially with the damage on that car. He finishes 9th, matching his best result of the season so far. Really unlucky season for Stig so far, and we expect better things to come. There'll be podiums for sure for Stig. Hopefully wins as well before the season's out, but he'll be glad that race is over, I think. And Sammy, is he going to get up to the line? He's not got much in the way of fuel left. Is he going to cross the line?